Hello everyone, Agon here from PS Blind, and I've taken a bit of a hiatus from Cyberpunk due to the game crashing on me basically like every 5-10 minutes, which is really annoying, so I'm gonna wait a bit, see if they update it and come back to it in like a month or so. But for now, I'm finally going to do a Watch Dogs Legion accessibility overview and my thoughts on it. Now this game frustrates me for a lot of reasons. I really enjoy this game. I like it a lot. It is really fun. Like the story's a bit meh, like the story's there, sort of there to hold, to give you a reason to run around and do all the stuff you do. Not really focusing on the story so much. The overall gameplay loop is really cool. Like you recruit people, you hack stuff, you go collect stuff, you go hack more stuff, you go recruit more people, upgrade weapons and gadgets, and like London just looks beautiful. It looks really cool. Oh god, got hit by a bus. Anyway, so let's go have a quick brief overview of the accessibility features. Now, as you can hear first, let me back out of that completely first of all. As you could hear, it has a narrator, which is decent. I don't know why they chose to have that weird accent though for the narrator. I don't know if you can hear.
Options, circle button, tutorials, get more information.
Tutorials. Sounds a bit Scottish or Irish.
Circle button back, tutorials, options, gunplay, accessibility, adjust game, menu narration.
But it's alright, it will do. It's fine. Right. One thing I would say for the narration is I wish there was a button to like shut it up when you don't want it. Now this will narrate all of the options menus, the pause menus. It won't narrate the map, sadly enough, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla does, where if you hover over an icon on the map, it would read it to you. This doesn't do it, which is disappointing. And also, it doesn't work in-game. So if I were to, I don't know, look at hacking someone. So you see all the information on the right is popping up about them, but the voiceover or the narrator is not reading them, which is annoying, because like to be able to know if you can't read the text and you want to recruit someone, you have to like register them like that basically. I don't think I can because I haven't unlocked this area yet or whatever, and then you go over into team and you can read all of their bios here, for example.
Polyhefis, unemployed, created multiple Super Pro movie drinking games, hard drinker, extra melee damage, tough drunk, take less damage, square button view mission.
Which is really useful, right? Like, you want to know what your characters are, what perks they have, blah-de-da-de-da. But it would just be handy if you could, it would be able to talk at this point, like, we'll be able to tell you from here, because obviously if you could see, you'll be able to have that information to hand and be able to decide, okay, do I want to recruit this person, or do I want to recruit someone else? And yeah, it would just be much easier. So that would be my first recommendation, for example, for what accessibility I would add to this game. Make the narrator work in game with things that you can hack. So because there is a lot of information that comes up, not just when you scan people, when you scan hackable items, for example, like that. I don't know what's coming up on there's a little dialog box on the top right. I'm assuming it's telling me it's like a CCTV camera or something, because it says disable or hijack in the middle in nice bold text, and you can hijack the camera. No, it's a drone. It's a drone. See, I would have known that if the narrator had just been like, okay, it's a drone, if I'd pressed L1 on it. So yeah, that would be my first recommendation. But I mean, I can't complain overall. There's not that many games with a narrator, so I'm happy that it's there. I just wish it would work in game as well. But the good news is the narrator works all throughout the missions tab, or the data tab, the map. Well, no, it doesn't work with the map actually. I mean, it tells you what to do on the map, but it doesn't say like what you're hovering over. What would be a good recommendation for me for this bit is if, for example, you could press a button to switch, instantly go from icons. So right now I'm on Vauxhall Station, like that's a train station. So if it would be like, okay, you're hovering over Vauxhall Station, and then you use the arrow keys up, down, left, right, and it will instantly go, like it will instantly switch you to the next icon on the list, or the nearest icon nearby, and it would just be like, it will read that out to you. That way you'd be able to navigate the map quite easily if you were visually impaired, and even if you were completely blind, which is would be very, very useful if combined with the next accessibility feature I'm going to talk about, which is one of the most important ones in this game, and I'm so happy that they added it. But for now, as you can see, you can use the narrator on the tech to go through all the upgrades.
Chase drone deactivation, turn 2 burrows defiant to unlock, locked.
And it tells you everything that it does, which is really, really useful. One of the main things I use it for is the missions, and this is how you can activate, this is how you can use the map as well if you're blind or visually impaired and playing this game. So let's just go to
Recruit Vicky Tang. Recruitment. Bare Knuckle League.
You know what, let's go do a Bare Knuckle League side mission. So you hover over it, obviously, and then you press triangle, view on map, and that will basically hover the cursor over the location of where the mission is, and then you press X to mark it on the map, and then obviously your waypoint will point towards that direction. Okay, now that I'm in the car and I have the waypoint marked on the map, if you can see a little bit, you will see that there is arrows all along the ground leading you to exactly where you're supposed to go, which is really cool. They're really high contrast, and you can just follow them along. I'm really terrible at driving, so oh god. But lucky enough, if you are like me, terrible at driving, once you get in a car, you just tap X.
Auto drive now enabled.
And if you have the waypoint marked and you enable auto drive, the car will take you all the way to the mission objective, which is really, really cool, and makes the game 10 times more accessible for me, because I'm not spending ages driving around looking for the mission, and I can just chill, but sit back, relax while the car takes me to wherever I'm supposed to go. Makes completing missions a lot easier and a lot more smoother for me. It's very slow, the auto drive. It doesn't really get that much faster than this, which is quite annoying, seeing as if you disable auto drive, you can speed up and get to the mission probably twice as fast. So, oh god.
Let's find out what it's then.
Right, we've arrived. So it's cool, but it's really slow, and I would say please, like, if you can, Ubisoft, speed that up, make the car go a bit faster. I understand that you're trying to make it obey traffic laws. Now let's continue, because I want to show some more stuff in the car. I want to show hacking in the car. So when auto drive is on, your car will slow down. Obviously, if you hear your car slowing down, there's a car in front of you, but to speed that up, you just dodged out of the way of it anyway, but if there's a car in front of you, you can hold L1 and press square, and it will like tack the car and make it turn left, or circle to turn right, to turn the car in front of you right. Basically, you can hack cars and make them go out of the way. You can either press square or circle for left and right, X for back, or triangle for forward. Or if you're not fussed about which way they go, you just want them out of the way, just tap L1 if there's a car in front of you. If you're completely blind, there's not really any way of knowing if there's a car right in front of you, unless you, I don't know, hear their music or something like that. But a way for them to improve that would be to add some sort of audio cue to let you know if there is a car in front of you, for example, or if there's a car, if there's an obstacle, or to let you know if the car's stopped. I mean, a lot of these games' issues and problems could be fixed with simple audio cues to let you know which direction something's in, or if something's in front of you, or something's in the way. For example, we've arrived at our destination now, but the car only brings you to the nearest road closest to the destination, because obviously it can't just go, the car can't just go piling into a pedestrian area. So in this case, I have to move my whole body down towards the bottom left corner of my TV where the minimap is, and position. I have to go, okay, the marker's there. The minimap is quite clear. Certain bits are anyway, but I have to go really close to the minimap and go, okay, the objective I'm looking for is, I don't know, is that way or something like that. But what would make this very accessible to me, and very accessible to people who are of low vision or blind, would be to use if you click down R3, for example, and you can hear that noise, it's like he sends out a wave, like a pulse from his body, like a hack pulse, to highlight close by items and objects, and it highlights them, especially points of interests. But what would be really good is if you could press that and it gives you an audible indicator of which direction your objective is. So, I don't know, say for example if I'm standing this way, then there'd have to be some sort of noise coming from in front of me, where with a normal pair of earphones plugged in, you'll be able to hear, okay, it's this way. There's a fence in the way, so there could be an audio cue there, just like Last of Us 2, to tell you, yep, there's a fence in the way, you can jump over that or you have to go around it. But the main issue with this game is that it's nearly accessible. It takes you to the mission area, and then it's like, right, if you can't see, you're on your own, which is really annoying because there's so much potential for improvement in this game, and I really, really hope they add features such as audio cues. I mean, the PlayStation 5 has a built-in 3D audio chip, right? And for companies not to use that audio chip to enhance their game's accessibility with audio cues, with directional things like that, is just ludicrous in my opinion. It's like having this really powerful chip or machine that you're just not utilizing. 3D audio, I think, is the thing that is going to make most games very accessible to people. Because and you don't even need, like, I have the PlayStation 3D Pulse headset, which is really, really good for 3D audio, but you don't even need that. Like a simple pair of USB earphones or 3.5mm jack earphones, plug them into your controller, and boom, you're ready to go, and you should be able to have almost a sonar where it plays a sound in the direction of where the objective is, and that would make it so much more accessible for blind and visually impaired people to get to and from mission objectives. Right, so we are here at the bare knuckle boxing mission, and I'm going to show you how accessible the combat is, which, good news is, it is actually really, really accessible, and I really do enjoy the combat. So let's get into it. Can I talk to him? Is it this guy? Hello? No, I knocked them over. Oh no, it's over here, the keypad. There we go.
Come right in, show's about to start.
Right, so before they hit you, you will hear sound.
Take a look at those faces.
Oh, you're supposed to anyway. Oh, there we go. So if you heard that sound, so when you hear that sound, you press circle. Oh, hang on. There we go. So you can tell just before they're about to hit, and you dodge and you counter attack. Bang! Yeah, so all the combat is pretty simple. All you do, pretty much, is when you hear that sound, you press circle, to dodge, and then you press square to attack. You can press and when they, if you hear them blocking, which you will, because it's a slightly different sound, you press triangle to break their guard. Oh.
I don't need no skank to end you get me?
Alright, mate.
And the crowd's roaring for some action. They're getting murdered in there. Serious.
Right, now the next accessibility feature is quite hidden. Well, it's not hidden, it makes itself quite obvious to begin with. And it's actually a really useful one, and I found it really, really useful, particularly because visually impaired and blind people, like myself, often find games like these really, really hard when it comes to areas where you have to be stealthy, or you have to, like, if you get caught, everyone starts shooting at you, or whatever. But in this game, if you walk into a restricted area and you don't have a gun drawn, if you get caught, they'll just start like fighting you basically, but not with guns. They'll start hitting you with batons and stuff like that, which makes it easier because the melee combat is much more accessible than the gunplay combat, which I'm going to try and demonstrate now. Give me a minute, let me just try and get into a restricted area. I have to get past this door somehow. Right, so I've got into the restricted area. And there is a VIP I need to neutralise, but I'm just going to walk around until I get caught. Right, so you see they've caught me now. And instead of shooting me, they should come up and try and fight me.
Something tricked the alarm. Sweep the area.
Oh. Sometimes they won't even find you as well on the easiest mode, like... They're really... Oh, there we go. Now we've been found. And you see, they won't shoot you until you draw your gun. They'll try and attack you, and with the audio cues, it makes it really easy to fight them off. Which is really cool.
Live alarm. Location sent. Need a 1013.
Now let's find someone and draw a gun and then see what happens. And I can use this as a good opportunity to show off the auto aim.
Gotta be something around here.
Oh, I can hear him. There he is. Right, so he's here. He's going to try and attack me. So if I pull out a gun, he pulls out a gun and starts shooting me. And now the auto aim is really precise. Oh god. I'm gonna die here. Hang on. It locks on to people and also the drones, which is really cool. Right, let me run. Jesus, I'm gonna die. Oh no. But you see my point, right? The auto aim works. One thing about the auto aim, let me just talk about that while I switch. So if you die, you have to switch to a new character. He's been arrested now. So let's...
Cassandra Venter. Max Wood. Vincent Shocks, artist. Max Wood, Albion contractor. Vincent Shocks.
Let's play as Vincent Shocks.
Video, paintball prank funny, paintball gun, unique weapon, weapons, paintball gun, LTL MP9, gadget, combat spider bit, square button swap to operative, R3 button to follow.
Right, so going back to the aiming, let's just start some havoc.
Suspects reported in your area, potentially armed and hostile.
So the auto aim is really good in open areas. Like open areas, it will lock straight onto the target and it will shoot at them. Where the auto aim fails is if someone's behind cover, it will literally aim through the cover, and it doesn't really allow for headshots because you can't You can't move the cursor at all. You just have to aim exactly where they tell you to aim. What would be good if they had a GTA 4 or a GTA 5 style method of aiming where, oh god, where it would stay locked on, but you can move. You should be able to move the cursor so you can shoot at their legs or their head, but obviously it won't go past the, or even like The Last of Us 2. I know I keep bringing on to that, but since that is the main example of the most accessible game, it's easy to compare, isn't it? But that did it right, where it included audio cues along with auto aim, where like it will tell you if you're aiming low, medium or high, and it basically made it fully accessible for blind and visually impaired people. But with earphones as well, I can hear exactly where the gunshots are coming from. So even gun combat, if you have any sort of earphones, you don't even need a 3D headset or earphones. You don't need to spend 70 to 80 pounds on an expensive headset. Any pair of earphones will do if you have a PlayStation. Apple earphones, just anything. You can plug it straight into your controller and you're ready to go, and you'll be able to hear where enemies are by what they're saying. I mean, you can try it now while I'm playing. Listen to this video with headphones on, and you can hear which direction.
Right, close this fucker down.
Kind of, you can hear. With the cars, it's a bit. Yeah, it's a bit iffy with the cars, but with the gunshots, when they start shooting, so you can hear that's coming from the right, and now that's coming from the middle. And then you turn your camera around so the gunshot is centered in the middle, and then you press L2 and it locks on, and then you shoot. Right, there's more police coming. Right, now I'm going to move on from this point, and I'm going to talk about the last part of the game, which is, in my opinion, the least accessible and could easily be made the most accessible. Right, now the final bit I'm going to talk about is the hacking. I spoke a little bit about this, but I didn't really say what were the overall problems of it. The main problem is, if you're blind or partially sighted, it's really hard to know what you're hacking. Like I said, if you're scanning people, even though there's a narrator, it doesn't really tell you anything unless you go into the pause menu, which is annoying because you know, why should you have to go into the pause menu when everyone else doesn't? It doesn't tell you what you can do. For example, it says here X to distract or triangle to hijack. What does it say? Disable. X to disable, triangle to hijack. So that must be a drone. So now I'm controlling a drone. But what would make this so much easier, again, is audio cues and lock on. So now I'm flying a drone, for example. If I want to find out, right, there must be something I can hack nearby, I could press down that, and just like again in Last of Us 2, where you press something to highlight nearby items, it will tell you there should be audio cues to be like, okay, there's boom boom boom, there's 3 things you can hack here, and then I don't know, press L1 and it will lock you onto the nearest thing you can hack, and it says, I don't know, drone, triangle to hijack, X to disable, and then you, I don't know, flick the right stick and it moves you on to the next thing you can hack, like, I don't know, car, triangle forward, square. It would be so easy to make accessible, especially in, oh dear, especially in areas of where you need to use CCTV cameras to hack and to solve puzzles and stuff like that. It would be so much easier if you could be able to just lock on to the next CCTV camera instead of... Because the way I do it is I literally just randomly move my cursor around and keep pressing L1, and when you hear that noise, where it's like, you know you've locked onto something that's hackable or something that's scannable. So for example, let's go down to street level. So I don't know, when I hear that sound, I'll press X, triangle, so that's a person, because I can see like a square panel on the right has popped up, even though I can't read what that says. Let's try and find a car that we can hack. Okay, so you can press triangle to make the car go faster, X to make it go backwards. But again, it doesn't tell you that. It would be great if there was like a lock-on system that worked in conjunction with the narrator to tell you, right, you're pointing at this, you press this to make it do this, like you press square to make it go left, triangle, or you can, it would just make life so much easier, and I wouldn't have to keep squinting at the screen. And also it would make it more accessible for people with less vision than me as well, which is always a good thing. I mean, in these videos I try and give as much suggestions as I can to make this game fully accessible for people with no vision, because obviously if it's accessible for people with no vision, then it's accessible for people with all levels of visual impairment. Whereas if you just make it accessible for people with low vision, it's still not accessible for people with no vision. But if you have a lock on, if they would have audio cues to tell you how many, like, you know, pulse out, at this point you'd hear audio cues from different directions, what things you need to hack. Possibly, like, if there was a main objective you need to hack, it would be a different sound, like a slightly higher pitch or something like that. And then there should be an option where you can press where you usually press L1 to hack, but if you switch this option on, if you press L1, it should lock you on to the nearest hackable target, so you don't have to keep aiming and hacking, and especially when you can't see what you're aiming at. Right guys, so that has been my overview of Watch Dogs Legion accessibility features and all of my suggestions on how to make this game even more accessible. As I said before, I really like this game, and it's a shame that it's so frustrating because it's just got so much potential for accessibility, and yet it just doesn't meet it, and it really bugs me. Especially because with a few simple changes, with the addition of audio cues, which is one of the most important things you could possibly do when thinking about making a game accessible for blind people. You have 3D audio, next gen is here, PS5 has a 3D audio chip, use it to put audio cues in, because that will make the games 10 times more accessible for you. Audio cues for direction, audio cues and lock-ons for hacking, and have the narrator in game so that I don't have to click the pause menu to see what person I've just logged into it. I can just read it from here. But the groundwork is here, which is why I do like this game, and I do like what they're doing, because the bones of accessibility are here. The very basic bones are here. The foundations. Now, if they'd only build upon this, I think that this could be truly a fully accessible game, with not even that many alterations. Like I said, like, the narrator is there.
Stop.
Use it for more stuff, not just the menus. Use it for in-game. The 3D audio is there. Use the audio cues as directional audio, and you've got yourself an accessible game. It's not really that hard. I mean, obviously I don't know the ins and outs of coding. All I can say is this is what you should do. I have no idea how hard it would be to implement in the game, so if you're watching this from a computer coding point of view and you're like, yeah, that would be so hard to implement, well, yeah, maybe, but, you know, Ubisoft have got money. Like, they've got money and they've got time. They're they're a rich company, and I don't think this would cost as much. I mean, they've already spent ages on this game. Look at the detail. Look at the graphical detail. If they spent as much time... No, not even as much time. If they spent at least 20% of the time they spent focusing on the graphics, on the accessibility, I do genuinely believe that a blind person could fully play this game from start to finish. So, that has been my review, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe the video. It really does help me. 74 subscribers now. Honestly, I'm actually quite impressed with that. I didn't really think I'd even get 50. I'm gonna try and get 100. Yeah, let's try go for 100 within the next 3-4 weeks, hopefully. Hopefully by the end of January I'm gonna get 100 subs. I would really love that. Also, comment down below if you have any questions or anything you'd like to see on any of the PS5 launch games, or any game you want, to be honest. Just tell me a game and I'll have a look at it. I'll review it. I play most games, to be honest, on PlayStation. And with that said, see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much again for watching. Bye.